Hi, everybody. It's Maria from What's the Story with Maria. How's it going? We want to welcome you to tonight's show. Tonight is Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. It is a beautiful, beautiful September night here in New York City. I have my windows open, which I literally have not had open all summer because it was just too hot and I had to run my AC, which, if you know me, I'm very frugal. I hate to do that. If I can open windows instead, I'll open some windows. But so this was the first week since maybe like the end of June that I could open my windows. So I'm very happy about that. But because of that, we may hear some sirens and things like that. My cousin Rena, well, first of all, the first one in, she didn't slide in first. She literally she's overnight. She's that concert goer that camps out overnight so she can be the first one at the door. Danielle of D's Enlightened Edits has joined us. She is lovely. Hey, Maria and Leo, happy Tuesday. SHANA Tova. Oh, look at all these Jewish things you're saying. You're a nice little Italian girl from Long Island. Okay, so she is a happy and sweet Jewish New Year. Well, thank you, Danielle. So Danielle is just a lovely person. She happens to be a healer, a spiritual medium. She is incredible. I had a quantum session with Dee, and it was, I don't say life-changing lightly. It was life-changing. And so if you are someone that does believe in that stuff, I certainly do, and you would like to contact Dee, Leo will put her website up at shortly. It's damseldesigns.com, and there's a trillion things to choose from, and she's incredible. I can't say enough. My cousin Rena Crugnali Berge from Massachusetts has checked in. Hello and happy fall Tuesday. Yes, I love your little leaf there, Rena. That's adorable. So Massachusetts is where I grew up, and you know I love that air. I love the weather and all that stuff. Yes, happy fall to Rena. Rena and Danielle are friends now. Rena actually had a quantum session with Danielle. Well, my Ziana did. I got it for a gift for my Aunt Anna, my sister, for Judy. It's a great gift if you want to give someone peace of mind, so to speak. All right, Leo, hit that highlight. Hit that promo. Thank you, Leo, for another wonderful promo. Leo does all our promos. And this week, we have our guests are two amazing women that I just thought, we wanted to have them on anyway. Liz is a good friend of mine for many, many, many years. And her mom, Myrna, is just lovely. And I just always love being around her. And I enjoy her energy and her company. And Liz always has said to me, you should have my mom on. And for many reasons, I should have her mom on because I can't wait to meet her. She is a scholar. She has a PhD. And I mean, she's written books. She is an expert on subjects I will have her talk about. Just women's studies, Holocaust studies, women in the Holocaust, really heavy stuff that most of us would shudder to go near, right? But she has a PhD and has done just amazing things to educate and keep the fires burning and keep that memory alive. So we're going to have her join us pretty soon. And the reason we chose this week is because it was Jewish New Year last week. Well, Thursday around the weekend there. And so we thought this would be great. I was talking to Myrna last couple of weeks ago. I said, pick a Tuesday you want to be on. And we thought this would be perfect right after the New Year. So we're going to discuss that and what that means. Some of our listeners are Jewish, some of our listeners are Catholic, some of our listeners are atheists. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a wonderful show, and we are going to bond together and spend a really nice hour together. So, okay, the first thing we want to talk about, Leo, why don't you join me on this so we can talk about some voting stuff?
I heard two things.
What?
I heard celebration.
Yes.
And I heard keep the fires going.
Oh, no. What a segue that was. Okay, so what is Leo showing here, that little peekaboo? What do we here on What's the Story with Maria? We have a calendar called the Nothing But the Apron calendar that we every year, our listeners and our friends volunteer to be in this calendar. And as I almost said my mother, as my Danielle probably knows my mother is probably here with us, but that just completely threw me off. But as my sister would say, only you could get people to take their clothes off without paying them. It's not about that. It's called a Nothing But the Apron. You can keep your clothes on underneath as long as you look like you're semi-naked there. So everybody gets an apron and picks their month. And we are our lineup that's coming together is incredible for this year as well, for the 2024. Now, Rena's husband, my cousin Rena Berge, her husband, Ron, was the original Mr. February. I will say he originated the role of Mr. February. And don't worry, Ron, you will always be that guy. Oh, my God, David Slauson. Hello, darling. Same to you, my love. Good to hear from you. It's been a while. Yeah, so Danielle says, hello. Yes, LOL, Mom is happy to be around. I know my mother is always around. So it's just, she keeps popping in. So anyway, okay, let's talk about, so the calendar is coming up. We have 3 months. Oh no, actually now 2 since we got
confirmed, right? All confirmed.
All confirmed.
Okay.
We only have 2 months available, and I believe the months are April and September, if I'm not mistaken. People are rushing to take their clothes off and don the apron. Nothing but the apron for our calendar. And these make amazing holiday gifts. So they come out usually, Leo, when do they usually come out? Like at the beginning of December, end of November?
End of November. I think we went late the first year, and the second year we did a little earlier. So we had them in time for the end of the year.
So they're perfect for Hanukkah, for Christmas, for whatever you celebrate, for just the new year. Want to just give a gift, and they're very, very reasonably priced. So these are great stocking stuffers.
And they're tastefully done.
Yes, they are tastefully done. Now, special shout out to Leo Rodriguez, because he has the tireless task of combing through every one of the pictures submitted.
I mean, look what I have to look at.
I know. And that is David Foley Jr., by the way, and his beautiful wife, Carrie Lynn Foley, and they are the Fit Foleys. David, as we speak,
is on tour.
On tour with Funny Girl, and with none other than one of my favorite songwriters of all time, Melissa Manchester, who plays Fanny Bryce's mom. I was lucky enough to get to see their last rehearsal. David invited me, and I was blown away. This production of Funny Girl is so true to the real story, and it's so beautifully done. And I just got to say, I was so impressed. I was impressed with the whole cast. But a special shout out to Melissa Manchester, because she was just wonderful. She's wonderful, and she's a songwriter. She's not an actress, but she was incredible. So, what are we gonna say, Leo?
I heard the recording of "Don't Rain on My Parade." As they're doing the cat. Oh my goodness,
she's really good. But you know what I love? You know what I love about this girl? It's not just her voice. She's goofy. She's like slapsticky, which Fanny Bryce was. You know, Barbra Streisand glamorized, of course, the role, because Barbra Streisand is untouchable. How can there's no better? There's no one better, right? But this girl captures the comedy of Fanny Bryce, and then when she sings, you're like, I didn't see that coming.
She looks like she's a little like all these singers that are like little frail, and then all of a sudden the voices come out, and you're like, whoa!
I actually cried at the very end of the show. I mean, all of us did. I turned around, I was like, "Are you crying?" And we're all crying. Even the cast was crying. I mean, the very end is so beautiful. So much of it is so beautiful and funny, and the dancers are incredible. So if you are, it's. I think it may be in Rhode Island right now, and then moving across. If you are anywhere near the touring company of Chicago, if it comes near you, please do yourself a favor and get some tickets. You shan't regret it. Rena says, Leo Rodriguez. Rena and a bunch of my family members, they had a I love when you do that, by the way. But you got to put a little shimmy in there, Leo.
Weather girl.
Yeah, girl. I love it. All right, so that's going on, and
I saw that, but you were going to talk about your reunion, or she had a cousin reunion party, right?
Cousins reunion. I wish I could have gone
with a little snack.
A little snack is right. So anyway, I missed that, but I love my cousins. They had so much fun. My family is so much fun. Okay, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about postcards to swing states. Today was National Voter Registration Day. I hope you are registered to vote. If you are not, just go to vote.org. Doesn't matter what state you're in, just find your state and put your name in there and your email, and they will tell you how to register to vote. Sometimes it's good to check your registration too. Like if you've recently moved between the last election and now, it's good to double check. Don't automatically assume that is going to transfer. Sometimes there are things you have to do. Okay. And this is, so Leo just put that turnout pack there. If you're someone that says, well, I don't really like to donate to politicians, which is me. I don't like to do that. I used to donate to Act Blue. That was my thing. But now I just like to do things it's about voting rights. So I do this. I get 250 postcards. I fill them out. You just download your list. They'll send you a list of people to send them to. And what you're basically doing is reminding people to get out and vote. And to me, that there's no greater show of democracy than voting and keeping those fires burning. So let's keep doing that. Remind your friends and family to vote. Find out when your voting day is in your state. And sometimes I think it's good to get people together and do it together and meet for breakfast afterwards or whatever you do. Make it something that is enjoyable. My mother was, of course, an American citizen from Italy. She never, ever missed an election, not one single election. And she took us with her. When we were little, we went with my mom. When we were older, we went and got signatures signed with my mom. When we were old enough, we registered to vote. She would have killed us if we didn't. And then we went and voted together. And it was a great joy for me to be with my mother in that way. So please do not take the privilege of voting for granted. Get out there and vote. Am I right, Leo?
If privileges will be taken away if you don't work the privilege to vote.
Absolutely. 100%. All right. So, oh boy, we have gone on long enough. Oh my God, Leo, did you hear Hurricane Rena is on the list? What?
Yeah, if she's anything like the family captain, I believe that they're all in trouble.
Okay. Yeah, all in trouble. All right. So okay, you know what? If I tried to memorize this stuff.
Are you trying to memorize all the information on Myrna right now?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my goodness.
I was trying to so I could sound educated. And I said, are you out of your mind? You are never going to get this right. So I'm just going to, we're going to have Myrna and Liz on in a second, but we
get it straight from the source, So
Liz is a great friend of mine. We've been friends for many, many years. And, but let me just give you a little bit on Liz. So Liz has been with Bloomberg for 23 years now. She's an expert on economy, bonds, debt, securities, financing. She was a manager before that, managing editor before that. She has worked in government. And before that, her first job, she was a lifeguard. Thank you for your service, Liz. So that is Liz. And great daughters come from great moms, don't they? So how do you keep up with Myrna Goldberg? Well, okay, so let me just give you a little bit on Myrna.
Oh my goodness, hold on.
Myrna has published articles on women in the Holocaust and co-edited with Elizabeth Baer, Experience and Expression, Women, the Nazis, and the Holocaust. She has also published numerous reviews, articles on curriculum transformation, American Jewish women, literature and history, and college and university teachings. Her current research focuses on hunger and starvation as weapon in Hitler's war against the Jews. These are really heavy subject matters, right? Like just hearing about it, I can't, sometimes I just want to turn away or cry. And this woman has done all the research on it and is keeping these flames alive. I have nothing but respect for that.
She's listed in an encyclopedia.
Right. She is a distinguished visiting scholar of Holocaust studies at the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. Her book on teaching the Holocaust, co-edited with Rochelle Millen, is forthcoming. She's written 4 books. She has done so many amazing things. She also just happens to be someone that I see all the time. She's Liz's mom. She's my friend now. Can we please bring on the Goldberg girls? Oh my goodness. Ladies, Liz, you have your tambourine. I got you.
Of course.
All right, so I must tell this quick story. So I work in piano bar, and Liz used to come in all the time because she's a friend of Michael Isaacs, who is a mutual friend of ours. And Liz loved playing the tambourine. She would always grab the tambourine. She'd be out there tambourine, and the next day she'd text me and say, I got a bruise on my hip from that tambourine. I'd say, well, you were playing it all night, Liz. So for Liz's birthday one year, I got her a tambourine so she could practice at home. So now she has it. So ladies, first and foremost, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Yes. I love that. Now, like I said, for us nice Catholic girls, we know it's a fun time of the year for our Jewish friends. We often jump on those trains, as Italians especially. We love to eat. We'll eat it. We'll eat. If there's food, we'll be there. But to someone that doesn't know much about this holiday, tell us a little bit about it. What do we need to know about Jewish New Year?
It's 5784.
50, write that down.
5784.
In the Jewish calendar, it's 5784.
Okay.
And the holiday is mandated in the Torah, in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23.
The first 5 books.
Yes. And, well, the Torah means teaching, so you use it as a teaching tool. And you eat, but you must start the meal with apples and honey for a sweet new year.
I love that.
And I make honey cakes, and
the challah, which is the bread that you normally have on Friday night,
has to be round, so there's no end.
Oh, I love that. And then remind me to tell you a story about challah bread of one of my neighbors in my building. I'll tell you.
You make it with raisins. On Rosh Hashanah, the challah has raisins for sweetness, more sweetness.
Okay, so it's a lot of that sweetness because I know there's also bitterness, right? Is that the same holiday?
There are 10 days where you are supposed to reflect on your life.
Okay.
And the end of the 10th day is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. And you spend all day, if you can, fasting. And there are people who are not allowed to fast. But if it's health, you can't fast. And if you're under 9, you can't fast. And if you're pregnant, you can't fast, and so on and so forth. But you think about what you can do to make life better. With people you have, been not so sweet to, you ask for forgiveness.
I love that.
So there's 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
And they're called the days of awe.
Oh,
and that's supposed to reflect awe, AWE.
I love that.
Things. And unlike Catholics, when you ask for communion and you go ask for forgiveness weekly, we do it all. We do it all.
Oh, I love that. One shot, one and done. Good for you.
My synagogues that I've all my life that I've gone to, they start the holiday of Yom Kippur with everyone talking to everyone else and asking forgiveness if I ever offended you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, it's very hard to do sometimes, but you do it anyway.
But you know what? That's nice, and I mean, this is like incredible because the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill W., studied all religions before he wrote the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and one of the I believe it's the 9th step is when you make amends, and
Yep.
I
Right.
think that he took that part of it from the Jewish culture and the Jewish studies to actually, you make a list first of who you've offended, who you have wronged, and then on the 9th step, you actually make direct amends. And I'm positive that that's where it comes from. So that's why I love, learning about other people's religions and customs, because we all really share them without even knowing how they cross over sometimes, right?
Absolutely. And I think one of the most interesting things about Jewish customs and things that we have is, we grew up in a very traditional house. My mother, Bubby to my nieces, which means grandma,
Yeah.
in Yiddish.
I love that.
And her mother, my grandmother, and my great grandmother, always, food is such an important part of the Jewish religion. And there are always jokes. Is this when we're eat and fast, or fast and eat, or eat and eat, right?
I love it.
Wait, I have to say this. My first thought about Rosh Hashanah is, who am I going to invite to break the fast?
Which is after Yom Kippur, where you have bagels and lox for dinner.
I make blintzes and that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I love blintzes. Oh, I love blintzes.
Blintz souffle, really good.
Really?
I'll share my recipe.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
Maria, you came and visited us during Hanukkah.
Yes, I did.
And so you got to see one of the Hanukkah traditions, which is jelly donuts. It's called sufganiyot in Hebrew. And in Hanukkah, we also have latkes. It's all this oil kind of thing. And
I love all of those foods, and I've had all those foods.
And you were able to come and visit us for Hanukkah this past year.
Yes.
When we were all together for a Hanukkah meal.
Yeah, and I love that. And as a matter of fact, see, this is what I love. It's like so much fun. It's all that you get. What I love about being a New Yorker is that my friends are so diverse. There's so much. But also when I lived in Boston, I had a lot of Jewish friends. We were close to Cambridge, and I was in a theater company as a kid, and so many of my friends were Jewish. So I used to have the luxury of spending some holidays there, enjoying that, and then they would come to my house, and it was just really fun. But it's great. It's wonderful, and it's the way the world should be. And my mom had lots of Jewish friends, and but anyway, this is just a cute story. Leo, get that picture ready. So I went to visit the Goldbergs for, I think it was the tail end of Hanukkah. It was right before Christmas Eve. I was going to leave to Boston because I always go to Christmas Eve for Boston. And your brother-in-law, Tom, made a little gingerbread man, right? There he is.
Tom's cookies.
Yes.
Tom's cookies.
Gingerbread rabbi.
Gingerbread rabbi. Now, this is why this picture is so important. I took that, I wrapped it carefully, put it in my car, and then when I got to Christmas Eve dinner, I took it out, and my sister just loved it. And I said, the rabbi is going to spend Christmas Eve with us now. So there he is next to the Feast of the Seven Fishes as the most Italian Catholic thing you can be. And there is the rabbi enjoying with us. There's my sister. She loved him. She loved him. And then I said, well, now we have to eat him. Let's just split she goes, oh no, we're not eating this. I'm going to shellac it. And I am using this at the shop because she's a hairdresser. She has a shop, and a significant amount of her clientele is Jewish. She goes, my Jewish clients are going to love this guy. So she
on
now,
the Christmas tree.
he is, Liz. He is on the Christmas tree.
Well, play your cards right. Maybe Tom will make you some this year.
Oh my God.
I have 2 in the freezer. I can share.
See, you see,
Yeah.
I wasn't the only one that my sister wasn't crazy for saving it.
I saved it too.
And I just got it, Maria. I'm going to interrupt very quickly for 2 things. One, I want to shout out Lois Lyons, who's on. She's my friend since first grade.
Oh,
we go back to first grade. So she's one of my dearest friends. And you've met her at red parties and such. So that's wonderful. And one other very quick thing. You mentioned Funny Girl and Fanny Bryce.
Yeah.
Well, Mom's from East New York. Born and raised in Brooklyn in East New York, and she actually has a Fanny Bryce story related to
my father he was a cab driver, and he loved Fanny Bryce. He just adored her, and he would wait outside her theater and he would drive her home.
Really?
She lived on the island, but he hated her husband because her husband wasn't faithful.
Nikki.
Nikki
No,
Arndt.
Nikki
Yeah.
Arnstein, Myrna, this is an incredible story.
So he would tell me about Fanny Bryce all the time, because he drove her home, and I think that's so
Wow.
sweet. And he brought there to protect her from Nikki. My father was this high, and he couldn't have protected anyway, but he was caring about her. And
That is an incredible story.
It's just beautiful.
He was a union. My grandfather was also a union organizer.
Oh, wow. So, but I love this, that because, if you see Funny Girl, folks, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's on tour now. And ladies, what do you think about Melissa Manchester playing Fanny's mom?
She's so talented. I mean, growing up in the 70s when you and I grew up.
I know.
Liz was on the radio. What a gorgeous, gorgeous voice she has.
Gorgeous.
So
she's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah.
But not that I was surprised because she's so talented, but she will say that she didn't ever fancy herself an actress, but she nails it. She nails Fanny's mom without turning it into a cartoon. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when people are not used to acting, they take something and they overblow it. Yeah, she plays it so well and so caring and funny. There's a lot of Yiddish in it. It's great. But I love this story, Myrna, about your dad.
I didn't know that till she turned to me when you were talking about it and said, "Did you know?" All these things keep coming out of her.
That's what happens.
And by the way, huge Brooklyn Dodger fan, still has not forgiven them for leaving.
No, they betrayed me.
Now, Leo, go ahead, tell them, Leo. Leo is.
I'm a Dodger fan, Brooklyn to now, just Dodger fan all the way through. So I love you.
Yeah, Leo's a huge Dodger fan.
We went this summer to a Yankee game, and my mother, my two cousins from California, went in all-out Dodger gear, and Mom big went across.
I had Brooklyn,
and people stopped her. I love your shirt, go Brooklyn.
It was also 42. My number was 42.
She was wearing Jackie Robinson.
Oh, I love that, Myrna.
Stopped me because they said, "Thank you for remembering." They were it was so heartwarming. It really, really was.
Oh, that's beautiful. There's one of my favorite books ever written is called Maybe Next Year. I believe it's called Maybe Next Year. And it's written by Doris Kearns Goodwin, who is isn't she wonderful?
Marvelous.
A lot of her books up there.
I love her. She's one of my favorites. And that's one of my favorite books because she talks about being a Dodger fan.
That's right.
And that was before television. So she would write down, her dad would say, she was a little girl, or maybe 6 or 7. He'd say, when you come home from school today, you write down what happens every game, play for play.
Oh, wow.
So she would listen to the radio. That's how she became such a huge baseball fan. And so she would write down play for play. She would, what do they call that, Leo? You used to do that. Your dad was
announcing,
a baseball coach.
Baseball announcing?
Yeah, but when you take when you write.
Transcribe it.
Oh, scorekeeping statistician.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Statistician. Myrna, did you go?
Go ahead, Leo.
Myrna, did you grow up listening to Vin Scully then all the time?
Of course.
And
Red Barber.
miss that voice.
Don't forget Red Barber.
A little before my time, I remember
him too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So both the Dodgers and the Giants left New York in 1957. Coincidentally, that's the year my parents were married. Yes, they're married 66 and a half years.
57?
1957.
My parents too.
Dad was a diehard New York Giant fan. He's in the other room. And
Neil.
But I didn't go to any Giant games. He did go to a couple of Dodger games with me.
And
because he's a gentleman.
I think they're still married because the teams left Brooklyn, so they can't argue about that.
I love that.
The reason that you have all of us now is because the Giants and the Dodgers left Brooklyn.
No, they brought the argument over here because now they're California rivals.
They're in California. They're both in California.
Oh.
So yes, Dad wore a Giants hat to the game.
I wore a Dodger hat.
And I wore a Yankee hat.
I love it. So there's still rivalry in the family. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Totally. So the kids are Yankee fans. Mom, during the Subway series, now Dad's not on. He's somewhere over there. But just so you know, my dad was a baseball player. My dad was a great baseball player.
He had
Really?
tryouts. He had tryouts with St. Louis.
The Boston Braves. He had
3 or 4 different tryouts.
and he never talks about it that much.
No, he's very modest.
I had no idea.
And we're watching the Subway series. I was home because he'd had his heart thing at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on the couch, and out of the blue, first of all, Mom's yelling because Don Zimmer was in a Yankee uniform, and that made her angry. And I know, sorry, we've diverted from Rosh Hashanah, but Dad just looks up and said, you know, the Yankees had class, even tryouts, white balls, and they had lunch. I fell right off the couch. He had that's when he told us all he had a tryout in Yankee Stadium.
That's right. And they treated them well. They fed them
better than any other team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. This is great. No, listen, we're diverting from Russia. It's all part of it. It's just all beautiful. I love this
Go back
history.
to Rosh Hashanah. Let me tell you another story.
Please do, Myrna.
Thank you. The second day of Rosh Hashanah is not as intense as the first day. And it was during the penance. I don't know. I don't remember what year. But my father said to me, let's go to the game, but we won't tell Bubby. We'll just sneak out.
You don't have to whisper for this.
Well,
She can't think it's funny.
I love it.
we lived on the top floor. My grandma lived on the middle floor, and then my aunts and uncles lived lower than that. So we had a duck. The windows, the doors had frosted windows, but you could see shadows. So we came down the stairs and we ducked underneath the glass so that she wouldn't see us leave. And we played hooky.
And they went to a Dodger game in their Rosh Hashanah clothes.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, we couldn't change because we had so
No.
all fancied up. Yep, my father took off his tie.
Oh my! I love that story. That's a phenomenal story. Let me just tell you, Michael Dion, who you know, Liz. He says, "I love me some Liz." I remember Liz in NYC. Okay, so he says, only because I'm a goyim. Thanks, Elaine Breyer. She taught him what is the reason for not being able to use electricity. When I was a concierge, we had to have security push the buttons in the elevator. Why is that? Okay, so that's a valid question.
It's a Shabbat elevator. It's called.
On people who are very observant will not cause any work to happen. And if you make electricity, I don't understand the technical stuff of it, about how electricity, but you're causing work to happen.
Okay.
And so therefore you don't use any electricity at all. You wouldn't cut with an electric knife. You wouldn't use a toaster. So for just Shabbat, for 24 hours.
The holidays like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the Shabbat of all Shabbats.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the Sabbath. Shabbat is Sabbath, and it's the day of rest from sunset.
Work has to rest.
To
even your animals, you can't work them on.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had at camp. I had a counselor who wouldn't play soccer just in case he broke a blade of grass.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, some people carry it really
that's
far.
Carrying it beyond.
Yeah, well, everybody's got their reasons too, right? But it's good to know sometimes people don't understand certain things. So what is, when you think about, like, for me, Christmas Eve is the ultimate because I love the food of Christmas Eve. There's so much joy. It's not even Christmas Day doesn't mean too much. I mean, I don't know. It just, Christmas Eve for me was always the one. I felt my heart would swell with happiness around my family. Which one is it for you, Myrna?
Passover, the Seder.
The family, that's Dad's favorite holiday too.
I mean, the food is different, Passover, so it's special. You don't eat that stuff any other time but Passover. The family is sitting around a table. The Passover Seder takes hours.
Wow.
And you chat and you talk, and the leader of the Seder says, shh, but you talk anyway. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful night. And
wow.
It's more generations, and that is really beautiful.
And for people who don't know, it's the telling of the Exodus from Egypt. So that's the 10 plagues and all of that.
And it says you have to tell your children. You must tell their children that you were strangers in a land. That's why you can't treat strangers badly, because you too were strangers. it's got all this beautiful stuff in it, and the warmth, the values are encased in the telling of the Exodus. So it's very special. And as I said, you also have symbols. You don't have honey, but you have all kinds of
bitter herbs,
bitter
you have
herbs,
parsley for spring.
Because when you were slaves, life was bitter, so you have horseradish and bitter.
Salt, and you have salt water.
Yeah,
Mm.
tears.
That's the matzah.
That's the
Passover
matzah
is the
holiday.
matzah holiday.
That's why I
Wow.
said really different. Very different.
Yeah, and our family, we tend to have very raucous holidays in the sense that the kids do shows.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, and that tradition carried on to my nieces. On one
create-
Rosh Hashanah did a show with our cousins' kids.
Oh, that's cool.
In the Seder, they enacted
They acted up the Seder.
the Exodus
What
with Moses and Aaron.
Oh my goodness.
one
Well-
year we did hair in Hebrew and in English. Another year we did
You
Joseph.
did hair. Also, you did this.
Joseph.
You also did at the Seder. You did it in Spanish.
We did the Seder.
Really?
Yeah, you did the Seder in Spanish. My mother-in-law couldn't believe it. She said, "What are they doing? What are they doing?"
Well, you know what? Kids get creative, and that's incredible.
Yes,
You know,
it was.
they turn it into their own thing, which is wonderful.
And
Once you turn it into that, then it becomes part of your life, and you understand it.
We always had wonderful guests for every Seder. That was important.
You can't turn people away
Yeah.
And you open your door
for anybody
for the
who needs a
stranger.
Seder
for the stranger
to come.
Oh, I love. Is that the one where Elijah's a plate for Elijah?
Yes.
Elijah gets his own glass of wine,
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And-
And so
and-
does Miriam now.
and Miriam now gets a glass.
She gets a glass of wine too.
Well, now, I got to tell you something. I don't know if I ever told you this, but one of my favorite movies when I was a kid was the Ten Commandments.
Oh,
I mean,
Helton has holding them up.
no, you don't understand. I wanted to be him. He was my idol. I when I saw this movie, I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to be him. I thought that movie was incredible. So Miriam being from that, right?
Yes, it's Moses and Aaron's sister.
Okay.
And where she was, there were springs, water sprouted. So she's very special, and we do put a glass for her.
I love that.
Yeah.
As you should.
Maria, just so you know, in case you really want to play Charlton Heston, there are a couple of times of the year due to tides when the Red Sea gets down to just about 2 feet.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
So it's title thing, and they tell you when it is if you want to play Charlton Heston and kind of cross the Red Sea.
And cross the Red Sea.
Good to know. I mean, the Catholic school. I went to Catholic school as a kid, but they took us to see the Ten Commandments, and it was incredible. And I remember saying, "That's it." Like, I was so moved by that movie.
I love you also. I know
it's a great movie, and I still think it's a great movie. If you wanna look it up, folks, it's been around. I mean, since I was a kid, so we're talking 50-something years. But it's a really cool movie. Now, you talked about women, Myrna, and how important that was. Now, you've done quite a bit of focusing on women in your writing. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I was a women's studies programmer. I taught literature.
You created the women's studies program.
I created the women's studies program in my
Thank you.
college. And I guess I was born on March 8th, International Women's Day. How could I be anything else but a
That's
feminist?
fantastic.
So, I mean, it was just genetic. It had to do.
It was shared. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. And I did that program. And then I had an experience. Neil and I went to a concentration camp, which was actually partially a death camp. And I walked into I don't tell this very often, but here I am telling everyone. I walked into a gas chamber, and I didn't know what it was.
Wow.
But I knew that it was different, and I knew that I was in a very upsetting place. And it was a
Wow.
tiled room, and there were blue streaks on the wall, which I knew already was the gas. And I looked up, and there were shower heads, but
Wow.
there were no drains.
Oh
And
my goodness.
that changed my life.
Wow. How old were you, Myrna, when you had that
Oh,
experience?
I was in my 40s,
Wow.
and I couldn't. I don't remember leaving that room, but of course I did leave that room. Neil took me to another place, and so on and so forth. But it changed everything, and then I became a Holocaust scholar.
Wow.
I had to know the story. And at that time, in America, you could read everything written in English. Now you can't. You spend a lifetime and then some. But at that time, not in the 70s or so, you were able to read everything in English on the Holocaust. And we got together there maybe with 30 people studying it, and the women were a minority. And
Mm.
we asked each other the question, because it was never done: what happened to the women? We know
Wow.
they were separated in the camps. No one was telling the woman's story.
Wow.
So a bunch of us, I think there were 7 or 8 of us, who decided to study women in the Holocaust. And
Incredible.
we went to used bookstores to find the memoirs that were written by women survivors in the 50s or so. And we found enough to be able to start teaching it. And we had research aides mimeographing, copying them, because you couldn't get them anymore. These were memoirs that came out and then were
It's out of print.
out of print. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's really interesting when you spend time with Mom, is why and how women survive the Holocaust in greater numbers and percentages, and was a big part of your research.
Yeah, well, we didn't start out knowing that they didn't. We started out just listening, reading, and so on, and we found women coped differently than men. Not all women and not all men, but for the most part, women bonded. Women did what they did before the Holocaust,
Wow.
and especially European women, they were close to each other. They would go to sewing circles or charity things and so on. And in the camps, women tended to get close to other women, especially if they spoke the same language. They were they would be from Czechoslovakia or Hungary, but women helped women. And everyone said to me, the women said to me, I survived because so-and-so helped me. She
my goodness.
wouldn't let me give up.
Myrna, I have chills. That's incredible.
And you hear those stories, and I have chills talking about it.
I'm sure you do.
These women, some of them were not lucky enough to survive. Some of them were shot because someone like Amon Gurth, a camp leader, a concentration camp head, would just shoot women and men, at random. But a lot of women really attribute their survival to other women.
They created family.
They were called camp mothers and camp sisters.
Incredible.
So my survivor friends would tell me about their camp sisters, and they would tell me how they had camp mothers who took care of them. Not real families. These are surrogate families, and they helped each other.
That is incredible.
It really is.
Now, I have to tell you something. Remember I spoke of Harvey Brownstone before the show?
Yeah.
Harvey, I am so happy you're here. Harvey Brownstone has joined us. I'm telling you, Harvey, you must get in touch with Myrna. Myrna, you must get in touch with. I'll put you two together, because Harvey is just an incredible guy. Canadian. Now let's talk about this. Was on the Supreme Court in Canada until he retired, and his story is incredible. He was the first openly gay judge on the Supreme Court in Canada.
Wow.
Yes, I know. Married all of these couples that came over in America, married 3,000 people, Americans. But he has a beautiful story, and his parents are Holocaust survivors. So Harvey, I'll get you in touch with the Goldenbergs. You will all love each other. And Harvey is just a beautiful guy. He was at the Stonewall during June, Harvey is just an incredible man, and you should get to know Harvey. And Harvey does a really great talk show called Harvey Brownstone Interviews, and he interviews lots and lots of incredible people, most of them famous. And you will really enjoy that. It's on YouTube. You'll love it, Myrna. So Harvey, I'm going to get you in touch with Myrna, okay?
Thank you.
So I'm glad. Now, I do want to talk about this, Myrna. Leo, I will pull the before all memory is lost. Yes, thank you. You beat me to it. So Myrna, tell us about this book. This is
I was approached by the Azrieli Foundation, which was headed by a man named Azrieli, who was a survivor, and he became an architect and so on. And he created a lot of charitable organizations. And one of the things he did was make sure that Holocaust survivors, male and female, their stories got out. And he has published many of their stories. The foundation, the publishing company, which is the foundation, asked me to read about 50 manuscripts, short ones, and put together an anthology. Now, these were written by people whose language was not English, but they were written in English by people who spoke like my grandmother, who couldn't speak English. Wow. And I had to select them. I chose about, I think there were 13 or 14 stories in this book, and I grouped them according to where they were from, what they did, and so on and so forth, and then put them in a readable way, but not lose the voice of the survivor. And it took me quite a long time to get that idiom, you know. I don't speak Czechoslovakian, I don't speak Hungarian, I don't speak Polish, but they don't speak English. So when they transcribed their oral histories and someone transcribed for them, it was like hearing my grandparents who didn't speak English. And wow. I had to work my set. Yeah, I had to go backwards and so on. But it was beautiful. The book was published, and I was brought to this foundation's in Canada, and I was brought to Toronto and to Montreal, where I met some of those survivors. And these women and their families couldn't stop hugging me because their stories got out.
Oh my God, Myrna, you're gonna make me cry. That's beautiful.
It was a highlight of my life, and on one of those occasions, it was my birthday.
Wow.
And the Azrieli Foundation got a birthday cake that must have been 3 feet by 3 feet, and then everyone, the survivors and their families, stood up to sing "Happy Birthday."
Oh my goodness, Myrna!
It was beyond. I can't tell you how grateful I was.
Oh my goodness!
And that's her book that won an award.
That's the book. Okay,
too modest to say it, but she won a big award.
4 awards.
You won 4 awards for that book.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Leo has put up the link to this book from Barnes and Noble, Before All Memory is Lost, and I love the picture because you see the picture is fading. It's out of focus. Yes. And so it is up to us, whatever stories we're telling, it is up to us to keep those stories going. You know,
they will have died a double death if we don't tell their stories. And that's what impelled me and kept me going, so that they were not forgotten. And I didn't want them to die a double death.
Wow. That's beautiful. Myrna, thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, so Michael said, this show is teaching me so much. Thank you. I love this. You see, that's why it's important for us to always talk and keep conversations going.
Thank you.
No matter what your background is, because that's the problem. That is the biggest challenge, I think, in the world, not just then, today as well. We don't talk to each other. If we were just to sit and talk, we realize that we're human beings and how much we have in common. So, Michael, thank you. I could listen to Myrna all day and night. Wow.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
I agree.
I appreciate that.
Now, Leo, will you join me for this? We Myrna, I don't know if Liz told you, but we take a break for the food section of our show. I always do a food section of our show.
Good.
Right about now. So we're going to take a moment. Everybody click that link and go and order Myrna's book while I'm doing this. All right. And I'm so glad Harvey Brownstone has joined us. Louis Villabon has joined us. Annette Zito has joined us, the amazing Annette Zito. She's a great chef. Patrick Olaf and Susie Turgeon have joined us as well. Okay, so what did I cook tonight? I'm on the keto, so I have to, I'm trying to be good. But what did I cook tonight? Because I wanted to kind of. So Myrna, I made chicken soup. What's more Jewish than chicken soup?
Oh,
Am I right?
Much more Shabbat and Jewish holidays than good old chicken soup.
it's also penicillin. The Jewish penicillin.
That's right. I think I made you some soup there, Myrna, a while back,
Yes,
right?
You made my husband soup. Yes.
Did you like it?
He loved it. He didn't
Okay,
let me
good.
get it.
All right. So now I made a salad. Now I always go with themes, right? Because I know Liz is a big theme girl too.
Oh.
So I have Boston lettuce here because Liz was just in Boston, my hometown, over the weekend, and she met my childhood friend Frankie Udiciani at Lucia's restaurant. And the picture of the two of you brought me. I got so, my heart got warmed up. So what's here?
Lovely. What a lovely man.
What a lovely man is right. And I'm sure, and he said the same thing about you because he texted me right after you left. He said, "Oh, what a wonderful woman. She was great. Thank you for sending her." So this is Boston lettuce, little baby cucumbers, which I love.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, me too, right? And
Apples.
apples, right?
For
Rosh Hashanah I put honey on there.
Oh,
perfect.
I put honey on the apples. And then this is it. I put nothing. I mean, everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's. I mean, and now I'm going to use a sesame olive oil and a honey ginger balsamic vinegar for this. So that is my Myrna Goldberg salad. That is in honor of you, my friend.
Thank you.
So much. We'll need the recipe for that salad.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
So we can, especially even Doodlebug.
I created a salad in your honor, Myrna. So, and then for dessert, because I'm still on the keto, I would love to have jelly donuts, believe me, or anything like that. But I just ate watermelon because the summer's almost over, and I'm going to enjoy as much watermelon as I can before.
Yeah.
Well, we actually, one of the things, and you can see it in the O for SHANA Tova. Our family didn't grow up with this, but one of the other foods for Rosh Hashanah is pomegranate.
Oh.
And it turns out it's because the pomegranate, the first fruits for pomegranate are in September.
Yes.
Around the time. So there's a couple of different, so that's one, it's a first fruit. And another thing is all those pomegranate seeds. There's so many in there. We dare you to count them. But I did read, and I did read that the reason, that's another reason, is that in the Bible, the Jews, we only do the first 5 books, right?
Yeah.
There are 613 mitzvot, which are good deeds that you're supposed to do. And the seeds in a pomegranate are, stand kind of as a proxy for the good deeds you're supposed to do over the year.
Yeah.
I love that.
Wow.
And what about the raisins? Yes, Michael, you're right. Maria, you've got the raisins.
Oh, the raisins. I should have remembered.
She didn't know about that until Mom brought it up.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, I didn't. I knew about the apples and the honey because my friend Lori Towers had a picture. It had the Rosh Hashanah and had apples and honey. And I've seen that for years now. And I'm like, okay, I have to remember the apples and the honey. But I didn't know about the raisins. So
sweet.
Well,
it's all about a sweet year.
New Year.
I love that.
And then
I love that.
What you can say to people until Sunday night is, may you be inscribed. You say, Happy New Year, sweet New Year, but may you be inscribed in the book of life for a good year.
So that's good.
The legend is that your name.
The book opens. God opens the book on Rosh Hashanah.
And puts your name down.
Oh, I love this.
Closes the book
at the end of Yom Kippur when the shofar blows.
So you want to be inscribed. So the greeting is, may you be inscribed in the book of life for the coming year.
That's so beautiful.
On Yom Kippur, you just tell people have an easy fast.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh, wow. What a great show, ladies.
Liz. I didn't remember to say that. Thank you.
Well, Liz she's pretty smart. She's good to have around, Myrna. She's
smart.
Yeah.
I had a pretty
Keep
good
her-
role
keep her
model.
image.
You know, our books, we never had books censored. You know, there was any book, and you see all these. You've been in my place.
Yep, I know. You have so many books. I love it.
I've read all of these, and there's 2 stacks next to my bed that I'm working on, and we never had any books censored. And I went in 9th grade. That was the year we went to Jewish day school, and I took out this book that looked really interesting. It was called Looking for Mr. Goodbar, and the cover of the book looked like a Goodbar candy bar. So as a 9th grader, I thought it was about chocolate. So I lugged the book with me to Jewish day school. And
Wow.
I started reading the book. I'm like, it's not about chocolate, but thanks to my, the way my family is, like, you start a book, you're going to read the book to see what it's about. Or never put it down. So I'm reading this book, and Mom got a call from Shulamith Elster, who was the vice.
She was the head. She was the head of school.
Look at Myrna's holding her head. She's like, oh no. Look at Myrna. Myrna's reliving the experience, Liz.
About me dragging around looking for Mr. Goodbar. And
I explained that we don't censor books, that my children can read any book that they want to read.
Wow.
And Mom said to me,
and they'll learn from them.
She said, you can keep reading the book, but you know what? Let's put a paperback book cover over it.
I can't believe you just beat me to it. I have a similar story. I used to love to read. I was an avid reader. And of course, back then in the 70s, Liz, as you remember, the big Jacqueline Smith.
Jacqueline Suzanne.
Jacqueline Suzanne. Yes, but I was reading Once Is Not Enough. And then, same thing, I brought it, except that cover was kind of like blurry and like there were 2 bodies. And Sister Helena, because I went to Catholic school, sent me down to the office, and they called my mother. And my mother, of course, was great, because if I was getting an award, she understood every word. If I was in trouble, she'd say, I'm sorry, sister, no speak English, you're too good. So they sent me home with the book, and my mother said, just put a cover on it. Listen, you can read whatever you want, but just put a cover on it next time. You know better than that. And that was it. And I used to love Sidney Sheldon was like my favorite.
Oh boy.
when I was in like junior high. So I used to read all the Sidney Sheldon books, and I would just put covers on them. And that's when you said that, put a paperback, I laughed, because I said, moms back then, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Nothing was ever censored. We had a giant, one of those great big dictionaries.
Yes, so did we, Liz. We had such a similar household.
We did,
the big one you opened that was on a stand.
Yes, and it was on a stand just like that. And if somebody said something at the dinner table,
look it up.
Go look it up.
That's what my dad did. And he would sometimes just pick a word, and he would say, okay, the first one that can tell me what it means gets a buck or something. Like it was like, and that's where we were like on holidays. And of course I wanted to win all that money. So I was, but I love that back then there was no internet. It was encyclopedias. And if you had to do a project, you had to
Britannica.
Of course. Mm-hmm. And education was everything.
It was everything. Right, in capital letters.
Yes. Yes. And I love that story that you told about your dad and Fanny Bryce I just love that.
There are so many more.
I know. All right, I tell you what, because we're coming to the end of our show. Yeah. Myrna, will you promise me that you will come back on this show at some point? We'll do
I will.
We'll tell more stories. Maybe we'll do a Passover show. What do you think?
Well, I can't give you that much ahead, but it's
okay. Well, I will put it in my book. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll plan. I'll just keep it open in case you decide to come back on, and that would just be so great, because I think that this is how we continue to love each other as human beings. We understand each other's stories, but we're so similar, and we always joke about Jews and Italians. Jews and Italians, they're the same. People like food, family, tradition. Yeah. And Myrna, I don't know if you know this, but in my high school production of Fiddler on the Roof, I was Golda. I don't know if you know that. There you go.
And then another connection.
There you go. So when you said tradition, I said I have to tell Myrna that. Okay, I want you both to leave me. Liz will have you go first. And everybody's going to go around in a circle. Actually, even Leo, everybody's going to go around. We'll start with Liz. Let's leave something nice for our new year, a wish that, or something just positive that we want to leave out into the world. Liz, why don't you start?
Something positive that you want to leave in the world. I would just say, be present. Be present and enjoy every moment.
Beautiful. I love it. Myrna, what do you think? And what do you want to leave the world with? This justice.
We must have justice. Of course, with mercy, but justice. We have to. It brings peace.
Yes, I love that. That's beautiful. Leo, join us. What would you like to leave
vote.
for the new year? Vote. Yeah.
Vote. Get it out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of things on the line.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, you said justice, Myrna. I have my RBG shirt on tonight because yes, because of you, because she is
Brooklyn, baby.
my favorite Brooklyn Jewish woman. So
Yes.
now you will be you have to share. You can both be number one. But
that's a pretty good person to share.
Yeah.
I don't mind sharing with Ruthie. No.
Yeah, one of my idols. So what I'd like to leave everybody with is just talk to each other. I find that people don't talk to each other as much as they used to when we were growing up. Just talk to each other, even if it's a stranger on a bus. Talk to people. People are so interesting. And most of the time, people are lovely. They just sometimes, and smile first. If someone looks like they're angry, just smile. You'd be surprised. They usually smile back. Yeah. So, Myrna, Liz, what a great time we had together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough. It was just beautiful. Oh, and Keith Torgan had just joined us. Keith Torgan is an incredible artist and songwriter, also Jewish, and I'm sure he's going to have lots to say. He says, beautiful, just beautiful. Keith, I'm so glad you joined. Who's that?
She's a friend of mine. She, when I was trader, she was one of my brokers. And she's in Chicago.
That's wonderful.
And she and she played rugby. She went to Massachusetts because Massachusetts was the first state that had gay marriage in the States, and went to Massachusetts to get married. And she's been a dear friend since the 80s.
Wow. Wonderful. Yes, everybody, make friends and keep them and just keep talking to each other. Please go and love each other. Yes, Myrna, you're right. And please go and check on that link before all memory is lost.
Thank you.
Myrna Goldenberg, please go and buy her book. And Myrna, you're lovely. I love you. I'll see you next time I drop off some sauce.
Hey,
okay. Liz, thank you. Say hi to Neil. Neil, if you're watching, hello. Tom, David, everybody. Thank you. Leo is the best. I can't thank you enough. Good night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Have a good week.